This video is how to create this Chuck Close fruit face project. If you want to do a practice sketch of your fruit face first before you get going, that would be a good idea. You could do any piece of fruit and any sort of face. If you want to add glasses, facial hair, eyelashes, all that's good to go. So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to get a piece of paper and a ruler. Sorry, let me just set my iPad up top here. Now, when you start on this blank sheet of paper, you're going to do notches at the top and notches along the bottom, okay? The boxes that I'm going to be doing are going to be 2 inches apart. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a notch at every 2 inches. So basically, if you can count by 2s, then you can do this. When you start using a ruler, you have to make sure and have the appropriate place lined up at the edge of your paper. Some rulers start right at the edge of the ruler, while some other rulers, they don't start until the very first notch on the ruler. Like this one you can see has some dead space, however my metal ruler doesn't. So I'm going to line up that metal ruler with the edge of my paper just somewhere near the top of the page, and I'm going to make a tiny little vertical line, which by the way is my notch, above every 2 inches. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. I don't think you guys can see me anymore. Okay, when I get down to 14 here, let's see. Sorry, let me line my notches back up. 14, 16. I do not need to make one at 18 because that's just the edge of the paper. Same goes for 0. You don't need to make a notch at 0, okay? If your paper's like a little off on how it was cut or that, you might have like a, a fraction of an inch more or whatever, but it's okay. Okay, so I'm going to do a row of notches near the top. Then I'm going to slide my ruler down near the bottom. Now, if you don't have your ruler lined up and you start making notches, you're going to end up with diagonal lines going across the page. So please make sure that that ruler is lined up with the edge of your paper. You don't need to be like right on the bottom of the paper, just somewhere near the bottom. And then once more, make your notches at every 2 inches. 2, 4, oops, almost made it at 5, 6, 8, 10. That's because I'm always talking while I'm doing things. All right, lining them back up. And 12, 14, 16, and I'm done, okay? All right, so now I have notches at the top and I have notches at the bottom, so I'm gonna turn my ruler vertically. Now, when I see students use the ruler, they always wanna hold the top and then they go to draw a line and that ruler moves on them. So make sure and spread your hand over that ruler. Make sure it's perfectly lined up with both notches and go all the way from the top of the paper to the bottom of the paper like that. You don't need to press very hard with your pencil or it's more likely that that ruler is going to move, okay? So just do nice and light and keep doing that till you've connected all the notches. And by the way, you're not stopping at the notches. You're going all the way from the top of the paper all the way to the bottom, okay? Okay, so now I've finished my lines going across this way. The next step is that I'm going to turn my paper this way and I'm going to line a ruler up at the top. Remember, either line up the first notch or the edge of your ruler, depending on what kind of ruler you're using. And once more, we're going to make notches at every 2 inches. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. You don't have to do 0 or 12 this time. And by the way, the paper I'm working on is obviously 12 by 18 inches. So if you're doing a smaller paper, it might end at like, 11. So then maybe you'd have like a weird like 1 inch space. Or if you were doing a smaller paper, if you wanted to do every inch, you could do that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this ruler down to the bottom. And again, it just needs to be somewhere near the bottom. I don't need to be like right at the bottom of the paper, just somewhere near here. My ruler will still line up straight and my lines will still end up straight. Remember to line your ruler up at the edge. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Don't need to do 0 or 12. Okay, now that I have notches on the top and the bottom, I'm going to line my ruler up, and I'm going to kind of maybe do this on a diagonal so you guys can see both of them. So line that up, top and bottom. Again, spread your hand over that ruler so you're not just holding the top. Go gently with your pencil so that you're not moving that ruler, and connect the top to the bottom of the paper, making sure that your ruler is touching those notches. Don't stop at the notches, just go all the way from edge to edge, okay? All the way from edge to edge, like so.